I'm Kath Crowley-Kahn from We Think Big in Madison, Wisconsin. I'm joined here with Beth Clarke, Senior Director of Digital Leadership and Learning from CISA 2, and Carol Shue, Library and Media Technology Specialist from the Madison Metropolitan School District in Wisconsin. We're here to share with you some insights and experiences with a project we've been working on the last couple of years called Digital Badging to Empower Teachers, powered by micro-credentials. A couple of years ago, we started a special initiative called LRNG Badgerland, and it was a pilot study to look at how can we use digital badging to address different institutional needs and make learning engaging for students. There were 6 public and private organizations. We formed education and employer teams. Many of the projects focused on youth in grades 9 to 12, but one of our partners focused on adult professional development, and that was CISA 2 in Wisconsin, headed by Beth Clarke. The initiative she created was empowering learners of today and beyond. And I'm going to hand the mic over to Beth to talk a little bit about how this project was designed and how it played out. Beth.
Hi, everyone. I was just very honored to be a part of the initial LRNG implementation in Badgerland, and very excited to have this focus on professional development for educators. And micro-credentialing has always been a passion of mine. And so when I was hired at CISA 2, it was the best opportunity for us to start providing this opportunity to educators across my region. And so as I started this venture, a district came to me and said, hey, we are looking to do an alternative compensation plan for our educators, and we're thinking about micro-credentials. I was like, hallelujah, this is perfect timing, because that's exactly what I wanted to do. So the district and myself, we were like thought partners through this whole process, and what they were looking for was a program of 4 micro-credentials that would then give them a macro-credential. So at this point, we are right now into our 3rd micro-credential in that district. So I've been working with them for 3 years consecutively. And in this 4th year in their micro-credential, they are to then be scaling, implementing, and sharing their work. So they will be at 2 different conferences with me, sharing about this experience and how over 4 years, their pedagogy and practice and the impact on their students these micro-credentials have had. One of the things when we first started was, what is this learning like? And so as we think about what the learning is like, they struggled a little bit and like, okay, aren't you telling me what to do? In a micro-credential, the information is provided, resources, you rely on your peer and cohort, there's feedback, there's a feedback loop. Obviously, I'm checking in and I'll show you that coming up here, but really it's not about what I want as an instructor, facilitator. So I had to turn that thinking with the educators on top and have them really critically think about what is a problem of practice or what is something that you're super interested in or have a passion about that is based on this learning experience that you're having. One of the things that I love about the LRNG platform is that inside each playlist is an experience. And so as we are doing the learning, the educators actually have to go out and either they have to visit somebody who's doing learner-centered practices, they have to interview somebody, it could be an expert, they have to reach out, who can they connect with to have an experience. So they now have been having experiences in and outside of their classroom, observations and so on, going on learning walks for the last 3 years. And now this 4th year, they now have become the person that other people can come into their classroom and they can share that information. So it has been so impactful and empowering. So how does it look? This is what it looks like as we get started. Typically, we have a Zoom meeting to start. I always kick off with, okay, what is this about? And it has evolved over the past 3 years, where at first this is what it was. We had a meeting scheduled and so on. Now it's a little bit more free flowing, where they know the content, they know the cadence of the micro-credential, and we do check-in points throughout, like what do you need, what kind of resources, let's talk about your project. Through the micro-credential, I'll show you well, this is what it looks like online. This is one of them, Empowering Learners of Today and Beyond. They have this beautiful user experience in LRNG, and it looks like this. These are the different playlists. And so as we go through the learning experiences, then we also get to a point in the micro-credential where they have to create I always, like I said, a problem of practice, but an inquiry project, anything that they're passionate about that they see with their students that they want to try. And it could be based on that experience that they had. So if they went out and saw a classroom and they're like, I want to try data binders, or, oh my goodness, I saw the must do, may do list. I've got to try that. So what does that look like? So then they create this inquiry plan, which then folds into a project plan and a prototype, basically. And they're going through the design process, right? And so then they collect their data prior and post of them implementing the strategy, and then they do a reflection. And so that project becomes something that they have to then share with others. That's also part of the micro-credential experience, is that they have to share that out. It is so empowering when these educators get together, and we typically do it on a Zoom, and they're sharing their projects and what they learned and their reflections, which is so powerful. They're reflecting on what really worked and what were some of the challenges, and how they're going to tweak it, or whether they'll keep that practice going or not. But it's really that critical thinking and reflection that makes their practice grow. So that's what's so important about it. So you can see the playlist here. This is something that I use in micro-credentials, is a single point rubric. And just love this process where they're looking at, this is what is on the rubric, and these are the criteria you can't see, but each criteria then has a link off to what that actually means and some resources to support what that is. And then when they're done with their project, they hand in this rubric, and you can see here's just some examples. So if they haven't quite gotten there yet, I'll put some comments over here like, hey, have you thought about, or you might want to consider. And over here is just a column for evidence. And then once they present and we have our rubric, at the bottom of the rubric, they get their badge. And that's exactly what we're talking about now. And what is that badge currency? It's different in every district. So, but the badge comes with this. It comes with 35 hours. So if a district is looking for professional development hours, we also attach graduate credits to all of the micro-credentials. So if a learner wants to earn graduate credits, they certainly can. And they all have this badge. So they can take this badge and use it wherever they want. They can put it in their signature. They can share this actually in that district that I was talking about. I always share the rubric with the curriculum and instruction director. And so she can actually see that rubric and see what they've completed. And she also knows that they have been badged with that micro-credential. That is how I facilitate that, and that is how they earn the badges. So let's take a look at what a learner has to say. And this is Carol Shu, who is a library and media technology specialist from the Madison School District. And she is a learner who has gone through a micro-credential. Carol, do you want to talk about your experience?
Great. Yes, well, as a lifelong learner, I've been teaching for about 17 years. And so as we all know, as educators, you really never stop learning. You're always taking courses. You're always kind of going through. So I feel like I have had every scope of course that has been designed, whether it's at campus with a professor in front of me, hybrid courses, all of them. So this is the first time I had taken an LRNG course. It was introduced to me from a colleague who had taken it. And I was like, oh, it sounds interesting. Sounds great. And what I really loved about this course was how it really honored my own self-discovery in the learning process that I wanted to go through. So really, authentic learning. The courses that Beth just had up on the screen there was going through each of the activities, or the playlists as they're called, and soon discovered different paths that I wanted to take. So when I was always thinking about the rubric and my own final project, I must have thought about many different activities that I would like to do, because I was being introduced to so many different ideas and I was being exposed to so many different things. So even though you're online and you're doing your own learning, when you are doing it, you feel very empowered you just feel empowered for your own learning. Beth was always around. Beth was the instructor on this course, leading a lot of driving questions. The questions that she always had at the beginning of each playlist gave me a focus, and then the resources that were provided. I also am a person who needs a strong sense of community when I'm learning. I need to feel that, and I always felt that as well, because we were able to do flip grids. You were able to do a lot of reflection, a lot of responses to other people, so you did get to hear other voices. You get to be around others as you're learning. So there's a really nice mix of those two. Overall, like the course that I engaged in, truly through the reading, the reflection, creating the project or the activity at the end, really I have to say it really transformed what I was doing as far as my own pedagogy in teaching, because it did truly enlighten me about today's learners. And what I also think is kind of ironic when we go through it is sometimes the struggles that we have as today's learners are the things that we're trying to teach our students. Like, you can take ownership of this. Your project doesn't have to look like this. I want you to create a project that has meaning to you. And at the end, that is what you are left with, a very meaningful project. And you have walked away with a lot of great learning.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Kara. Okay. So contact information, if you're interested in learning more, please contact me at my email address. I'm on Twitter. And then if you have any questions for Kath, please contact her on her email. And thank you so much. And I hope this was useful for you.